What would you do if a coworker whose help you desperately needed looked you in the eye and told you to get lost because it wasn't his job? In today's story, a U.S. Army sergeant's response isn't just a masterclass in malicious compliance. It's a lesson in how to permanently solve that problem. It all started with my dad. He was a mechanic for over 2 decades. And I was the kid who drove him crazy. If he left a screwdriver lying around, I'd grab it and immediately start taking apart everything in the house just to see how it worked. As I got older, that curiosity shifted to computers and electronics. I became that kid in high school, the one who figured out how to change his grades, crash the school district's servers, and had a little too much fun with the net send command. My weekends were spent either building science projects with my uncle or dragging my dad out to the driveway to help me fix my car. Though help usually meant him watching me struggle, saying he'd step in once I had it fully taken apart myself. Those figure-it-out lessons were the greatest gift he ever gave me. As one person commented on my story later, "I wish I had your skills, but my skills are more, take it apart and break it even further." For me, taking things apart was just the beginning. In March of 2004, I joined the U.S. Army, specializing in communications, or COMMO for short. My knack for figuring things out served me well. I made sergeant, or E5, in under 3 years, right after returning from a deployment. I was then transferred from a light infantry unit to a mechanized one, where I was put in charge of the entire battalion commo shop. This is where the real fun, and my story of revenge against the mechanics, begins. If you've been in the Army, you know about Motor Pool Mondays. It's the day we make sure every vehicle, every tank, every Bradley fighting vehicle, or BFV, is running perfectly. That includes testing all the radios and commo gear. If something's broken, you fill out a maintenance form and send it to the right shop to get fixed. Simple, right? Well, every broken vehicle ends up on a report that leadership reviews. And they always want to know why something isn't fixed yet. I ran my shop with my dad's philosophy, figure it out. And don't bring me a problem without a proposed solution. One Monday, a soldier came to me with a BFV problem he just couldn't crack. I went with him to take a look. After a few hours of troubleshooting, we traced the fault to the BFV slip ring. Now, this was a big deal. A slip ring is a complex part that allows all the electronics in the turret to function while it rotates 360 degrees. They rarely fail. And more importantly, fixing one wasn't a commo job. It required tearing down the BFV's turret interior, which was a job for the mechanics. So, I walked over to the mechanics bay to get their help. And that's when I discovered the mechanics really didn't like the commo shop. I found the motor chief, let's call him Chief Barnes, and explained the situation. He basically told me to F off. He claimed the slip ring was a commo part, so it was our job to fix it, not his. I was stunned. I tried to explain that we couldn't even get to the part without his team's help. He shut me down again and told me to pound sand. Chief Barnes made a critical mistake at that moment, completely unaware that this single, arrogant refusal would lead to the most painstaking 3 weeks of his career. I was beyond pissed. I had tried the official route. I had swallowed my pride and asked nicely. Both times, he'd treated me like dirt. That's when I decided it was time to play a little game of global thermonuclear war. I was going to teach him a lesson he and his entire shop would never forget. I told my guys I needed to run home and would be back in a couple of hours. At my house, I went straight to the garage and packed every wrench, socket, and impact driver I owned into my portable toolbox. I loaded up my portable air compressor and every extension cord I could find. Back at the motor pool, I had my team scrounge up even more extension cords. And then I gave them a very strange request: find me the 2 largest empty coffee cans you can get your hands on. They thought I was joking at first. But when they returned with the cans, my battlefield was set. I had power, compressed air, tools, and 2 giant cans to neatly store every single bolt, nut, and washer I was about to remove. This reveals my greatest strength. Instilled in me by my father, a deep-seated belief that there's no problem that can't be solved with the right tools and enough determination. Under normal circumstances, you only remove what's absolutely necessary. But these weren't normal circumstances. I had absolutely no intention of putting any of it back together. I sent my team to lunch, deciding this particular fix wasn't the best example for them to witness. For the next few hours, I dismantled everything. Every seat, every interior plate, every storage shelf. If it wasn't an electrical or commo component, it got removed. Every piece of hardware went into the coffee cans. Soon, both cans were filled to the brim with nuts, bolts, and washers. So I had to switch to Ziploc bags, which our office luckily had in abundance. Finally, after tearing through layers of the BFV's guts, I reached the slip ring. And here's the kicker: I didn't even need to replace it. The real problem was that the mechanics had forgotten to install a cable mount during a previous job. A commo cable had gotten snagged on a moving part and was sliced clean through, with everything already torn out. It took me maybe 15 minutes to splice in a new cable and add the missing mount. Job done. I tested all the commo systems, and everything worked perfectly. I then gently and neatly stacked every single part one had removed on the floor of the BFV's interior. I put the lids on the coffee cans, sealed the Ziploc bags, and with my trusty Sharpie, I wrote a single word on each: bolts. As one commenter later put it, the plan was, in a word, genius. King genius. Once everything was tidied up, I found the BFV's crew chief. I told him, "Hey, your commo issue is fixed, but you should probably have a mechanic look at your vehicle." I had to disassemble some of it to get to the part, and I can't quite remember how it all goes back together. I spent the rest of the afternoon watching from my office window, waiting. Finally, Chief Barnes moseyed over to the BFV. I saw him peer inside the hatch. His casual posture vanished. His head snapped back. His eyes widened. And his jaw dropped. If I didn't know better, I'd have sworn his head spun around 3 times before it nearly popped off. The look of pure, unadulterated shock was absolutely priceless. I knew he was about to explode, so I walked out to meet him in the motor pool. The second I was in earshot, the screaming started. "Alex, what in the hell did you do? You get your butt over here and put every single one of these parts back. Now." I just stood there, calm as can be. and shook my head. Can't do that, Chief, I said. It's a mechanical issue now. And that's not my job. See? I asked for your help earlier, but was told it wasn't your job. I'm just a commo guy. I didn't know what needed to be removed to fix the problem. So I just removed everything. If one of your guys had been here to help, I'm sure this whole misunderstanding could have been avoided. This was the ultimate "it's not my job" Uno reverse card. He had no response. He just stood there, fuming, surrounded by the guts of a multi-million-dollar fighting vehicle. That Bradley fighting vehicle stayed on the weekly maintenance report for 3 solid weeks while his mechanics painstakingly figured out what bolts went where. After that incident, not once was I ever told, "It's not my job" again. In fact, the mechanics became more than willing to help with any issue that came up. Before I left that unit, our 2 shops even started cross-training each other's soldiers so we could all fix problems faster. Together. I had taken the entire vehicle apart, fixed my part, and in doing so, made reassembly and teamwork his job. This story is a powerful reminder that in any team environment, saying "that's not my job" can be a very dangerous game. True cooperation is born from mutual respect. And sometimes, you have to completely dismantle a situation to build it back up, stronger than it was before. So, what do you think? Was this act of revenge perfectly executed? Or did it go a step too far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.